Hey guys, Magpie here, and today you're bird watching with Magpie, literally. So today, talking about a little subject near and dear to my heart, and that is Corvidae, or corvus, ravens, crows, magpies, jackdaws, that sort of thing. Intelligent little scavenger birds. Now, these little critters, you may notice them around in quite a few areas. They're pretty much spread across the world, and they are some of the most intelligent scavengers out there. Now, you've probably heard about that little tale about them in the city where they got smart enough to the degree that they would take things that they couldn't normally crack open by themselves, drop it on the road at a crosswalk, wait for the cars to run over it, wait for the traffic to stop, and then eat the food. There's actually, I believe it was the African hooded raven, which has passed a multiple consecutive tool use test in which basically they have to use several tools in succession in order to access the treat to basically pass the test. And I'm pretty sure about the only other thing that intelligent would be primates and dolphins. So these intelligent little buggers are like I said, pretty much everywhere. And one of the curious elements is that, unlike most creatures, which their play is a form of training, where, for instance, cats will stalk things and hunt them, and dogs will grab things, chase them down and tear them apart. Ravens have been known to play just to play. Sometimes they pick stuff up or they'll throw it around or they'll just hang around, slide down stuff. There's this little video where a raven, I believe, grabs a cap and then slides down the roof like snowboarding or skiing. And it's like, I mean, there's no reason for the animal to do that aside from the fact that they're bored. They actually have the cognitive capability to be bored. Now, along with that, now you notice that crows, ravens, magpies, that sort of thing, they're spread all over the world. But one thing you may also notice is that across the world, even common species make different noises, different sounds. And the thing is that even within regional areas, they do this. And the reason why that is because they are so intelligent, they have their own dialects to their language. Now, as far as I know, nobody's really cracked the crow language, but they have done a number of tests, and along with multiple consecutive tool use, they have determined that they have generational intelligence. So there's this study where some folks at a university, I believe, one of them would wear a mask. And the person with his mask was the bad guy. So he would go out there and treat the crows terribly and scare them off and throw stuff at them, that sort of thing. And the other fella, I think, would feed them, and then maybe there's somebody that was just a control, somebody that would just walk around and be there. So at some point, they ended up changing the masks. So the fella who was the control, who would just walk around, started wearing the mask, and the guy who was the aggressor took the mask off and walked around. And the crows actually recognized the guy in the mask, or rather the mask specifically. I don't think they remember the actual face of the person, though this demonstrates they can memorize faces. And the crazy thing was that they had this little warning call, and a group of crows that wasn't even part of the same group that they were testing with also started emitting these warning calls, and they saw that the bad guy in the mask. So they can actually communicate to one another to pass knowledge. And that's pretty impressive, like describing somehow the appearance of a person or an object, a thing, and saying, hey, this thing is dangerous, look out. Oh, like this thing, terribly dangerous. But they were also generational. So another thing is that they would, so there was this area, I believe, where crows would come to like pretty much every year around, like this little migration, this farm. And they farmers, of course, weren't too happy about the crows coming eating all their corn. So what they ended up doing was that they ended up setting up this little trap and shooting a bunch of the crows. So the first group, they shot a bunch of the crows, and those crows ran off. So then they're waiting for the rest of the crows because it's just this constant migration, and none of them came. After that first group, none of the other crows came. And then for years, no more crows have come. So not only did the crows pass on that, hey, this place is dangerous, that's been remembered for them by the crows for generations. So the next time you see one of those little trash buggers floating around, these little scavengers, the wolf bird, as they're also known, yeah, keep in mind there's some cunning little critters. Yeah, crows.